Well, welcome everybody to another Future Beauty Talk. I'm your host today. I'm Frank Salon from Vital Plus, and I'm very excited to introduce you to our next guest, Vanessa Rossini. Vanessa has been with us for, well, I think it's a little over 6 months, but I'm not sure. It's around that time, and she's been helping us with our social media, and she's had such great results. Increasing our likes, increasing the comments, increasing the shares, increasing the followings, all that, ultimately to get us more engagement and more new leads, and which is, new customers, which is everything that we all want. She's been doing a tremendous job that we thought, Vanessa, could you please talk to our clients and give them a few little hints about what they could do to increase their own social media presence? And so she said, yes, absolutely. So let's do it. Let me introduce you to the wonderful, beautiful, and very astute Vanessa Rossini. Vanessa, over to you.
Thank you, Frank. That was so lovely. I liked that little intro. I feel like I should copy and paste that every time. People are like, who is Vanessa? Yeah, but no. So today I'm really excited to talk to everyone about the best practices for Instagram and Facebook. And I think I'll just give you guys a little bit of a background. So for the last couple of years, I've been working in digital media, social media, and predominantly my niche is around beauty and skin. So skin salons, like local salons. And I guess the biggest thing is that when you're working with these beauty therapists and beauty salons, etc., there's kind of like it's same but different. So obviously there's a lot of different engagement tactics and techniques and stuff that we kind of do a copy and paste with our clients. But when it comes to like the beauty and the skincare niche, there's certain things that you can definitely be doing a little bit differently that's going to help your business stand out, because obviously we know that the industry is just so cluttered, and especially with Instagram and Facebook, it's really hard to get noticed these days, given the algorithm's always changing and there's always something new that everyone has to learn. So I'm really hoping that this talk helps you guys have a bit of simplicity around your advertising. And the best bit is that I put together this little social Bible for beauty and skin salon owners. And it essentially just has like all the fundamental basics of what you actually need to know. And it doesn't include any trending stuff. So it's never going to go out of style. It's just the simple things that you need to know as a beauty and skincare salon therapist / owner. How do I advertise my business on Instagram and Facebook? So for today, I'm just going to be talking about Instagram and Facebook. And to be honest with you, that's actually all I work with for the clients is just Instagram and Facebook, because given the nature of, I guess, our current climate and how people communicate with each other and how businesses actually share their story, predominantly it is on Instagram and Facebook, although it's definitely not to discount any of the other platforms like Pinterest and Twitter, etc. But for today, we're just going to be talking about Instagram and Facebook. So advertising techniques to get the right results and boost your business. When we talk about advertising your business, I guess the one thing to note is that if you see it as like you're sharing your story with people, it kind of takes away that pressure of you trying to, I don't know, do things that you're not really comfortable with, or maybe you're looking at what other people are doing. And sometimes it can get really hard to kind of, I guess, feel like what's the best way that you can actually advertise your business so people notice you, and like, why do you stand out from the salon across the road? So I think the biggest thing to note is that when you're authentic, it means that people can connect with you in a way that, I guess, like you just can't pay for that. So when you're thinking about Instagram, think about it as a way that you're sharing your story. So it's all about storytelling. And I think that's one of the most things that people always ask me. They're like, how do I like actually share my story though? I'm really nervous to get in front of a camera. I'm nervous to do all these certain things. I'm hoping that after today, you feel a little bit more confident and inspired to try all these different bits and pieces. But the one thing I would say is coming back to it, is being authentic means that you're just being your best, amazing self. And people want to know what you do differently. They want to know what you're doing in the morning, how you're setting up your beautiful salons in the morning. Like, what do you guys do differently? Do you have like your beautiful tea that you come, ready for people when they come for their treatments? Or, like, is it something like a beautiful technique that you use in your salons? Like, all this needs to be shared. And sometimes it can get a little bit, I guess when I talk about it, I try to not make it seem a little bit overwhelming, but it's just because I get so passionate about people just being their best selves, and people want to see that kind of stuff. So be authentic, number one, 100%. And whatever that means for you, take that on board with everything that you're doing. And every time you get confused and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know where to start, just remember that being authentic is going to essentially help your business grow. Create a consistent visual style online. So a lot of you, I'm guessing, you obviously have the business that you work for or the business that you own. You've got a logo, you've got your marketing collateral, etc. When it comes to online, you essentially want to be taking that same style that you have with your salon and you want to be bringing that online. So you're like, okay, Vanessa, how do I actually do that? With your visual style, I'm talking about colors and fonts and the way that you share videos and content. And content is anything that you're sharing. That could be videos, photos, reels, stories, whatever it may be. So the best way to stay consistent is for you to make sure that you pick 3 main colors and 2 font styles, because there's nothing worse than having like all these different colors and all these different fonts that are representing your business. It does get a little bit overwhelming for the customer. So creating a consistent visual style, it essentially just means that you're using all the same type of style, font and colors that you would use in your salon. So if your salon is all about minimalistic, then obviously that's the type of style that you want to showcase online. Sharing your testimonials and before and afters. I guess this kind of goes without saying, especially for like beauty and salon. I think that that's one of the biggest takeaways, is that people who are coming to you, I think we've got to understand as well that like it's also very nerve-wracking having someone in your face taking a photo. But then for us, well, for you guys, that's kind of the best way that you guys are going to get people actually noticing your content. So one thing I've taught my other salons is that instead of saying to people, can I take a before and after of your face, asking them before the treatment if you can take a photo of a portion of where the actual treatment or an area of focus of such. And with testimonials and before and afters and all of that, these are what I like to say. It's kind of like, people are telling other people how amazing your business is, and you just can't buy that. So after every, after people come in and then you say, thank you so much, like if you wouldn't mind like leaving us a testimonial or a review on Google or whatever it may be, whatever your setup is, make sure that you are utilizing those testimonials and those before and afters, because they are probably the most imperative and most crucial way that for a salon and a beauty salon, that's going to make the world of difference. Being consistent when you share your photos, images, and videos. So it's very hard to kind of put like a blanket, I guess like a blanket schedule, but to make it easier, I know a lot of people are like, okay, being consistent, like how many times do I post? What do I need to post, etc. And we'll get into that. But in terms of being consistent with your business when you're sharing content, I like to say that 3 times a week is quite, I guess it's achievable for you guys, because not only are you beauty therapists, you're also admin and doing all, like the PR and all the socials. So there's a lot going on. So I recommend to my clients that being consistent, if you want to start sharing photos or before and afters every Wednesday, you make sure that you stick to that, you're consistent, and every Wednesday you're posting that before and after, because consistency equals more engagement, more traffic, more people seeing your content. And Instagram loves when you're consistent, when you're consistently sharing stuff. So that's what I would say to that. So how to advertise my beauty salon in a nutshell: being authentic, creating consistent visual style online, sharing testimonials and before and afters is key for your type of niche, and being consistent when you're actually sharing that content. The best thing is that we also don't need to do anything manual these days. We can actually automate everything. So what I was saying before, like obviously this, like I'm not going to know what's perfect for your business unless I was looking at the analytics to see when people are most active, what type of content is getting the best results. But I think that if you need to tweak a couple of days, that's totally fine. As long as you're sharing the content across your grid and your stories, that's fine. But when it comes to actually being consistent, there's an app, and I was going to mention the apps at the end of this, but there's an app that I use for all the clients, and it's called Later. It's with a capital Later. And it just is amazing. Like you can literally set up your day. So if your Monday is your day where you're like, it's my admin day. I think a lot of people, Mondays are kind of the day off. Use that time to literally block out 2 or 3 hours. So if you're doing 3 pieces of content a week, that's 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, that's 12 pieces of content a month. All you really need is 12 pieces of content. Out of that, you've got 3 pieces of testimonials, etc. You can literally just schedule that out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or if you want to trial different days, totally fine. But I guess the thing with being consistent is that when you use apps like Later, it takes off that pressure, so you don't have to manually post all these things.
So does that post it automatically, does it?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay,
exactly.
cool. I've written that down. Okay.
Yeah. Post on Instagram and Facebook as well, which we'll get into, but it's just my favorite. So I just want to show you guys something. This was in regards to the consistency. So with the content creation, all that stuff, I actually use the platform, which I'm sure some of you have heard of. It's called Canva. And I use Canva Pro. And the reason why I use Canva is, first of all, I can watermark all my photos, any pieces of content. As you can see, I've got quotes, before and afters, testimonials, etc. But Canva it just makes your content creation process so easy. So even if you're just posting a photo of your beautiful salon, I would recommend that every person here watermarks their photos. And what I mean by that is, see that little, well, you can see the VK sign there on the testimonial. That's me just watermarking my photos with my logo. And essentially it's just a bit of, not saying that everyone does this. I don't think it's quite necessary for my industry, but I know for the beauty industry, I've seen it before where people just take other people's photos of before and afters, of brows or lashes, etc., or facials. So I would definitely recommend that everyone watermarks them. But with Canva, it just makes it so easy to kind of get a beautiful overview of how your month's going to look. And yeah, so I would definitely recommend using this app. And in the next one, what I do at the end of all my content planning is I actually get a little mini grid visual you can see here down the right hand side, and actually shows me how my Instagram and my Facebook feed is going to look. So these are just the perks of using Canva, is that you can forward plan. So okay, on that week we're gonna, you could do a color theme. If you wanted to do something particular, coming up for Mother's Day, maybe you wanted to do something quite special, you can see how things are going to look. And I think that's just a game changer, because sometimes when you're planning and you're writing your content, and you kind of forget how things are going to look in a month's time. So Canva Pro, that is all for content creation. And the best bit is you can actually upload your logo and your color palettes and your fonts. So it actually has everything consistent in terms of your branding in Canva. So I would recommend that you all pay for the Pro, because you can get your team members on this as well, so they can upload content if you need them to. But it's just easy to kind of have everything in one section. And you can also create folders in Canva. You can create them for the different months. So you could have November, December, January. And it just makes it so easy to keep everything consistent. And it's actually very, very foolproof to use. I'm not a designer by any means. And my designer is always oh, this is really good, Vanessa. I'm I just use Canva. And she's that's really good. And that's coming from a professional designer. So yeah, definitely Canva Pro to actually create the content and make it all beautiful and watermark, etc. So next one, how do beauty salons attract customers? So obviously this is quite it's kind of like a bit of a surface level question, but I'm going to try and make this quite relevant to you guys. So using Facebook and Instagram to generate new customers, I'm going to just presume that everyone also has products that they're selling in their salon as well. So going back to the authentic storytelling, I know I spoke about this, but again, I mean, attracting new customers, you just got to think to yourself, every time you're posting something, imagine you are your customer. Like, why do people want to come to you? What's that point of difference that really makes you get up in the morning? You love what you do. You're so passionate and you want to share that passion with people who are following you on Instagram. Generally speaking, they say that it takes like 3 rounds of someone to actually reach out to you. So in terms of if I'm a customer and I've seen a before and after, and it's all about pigmentation, you're using the Nemu pigmentation set and you're like, okay, then someone's going to start following you, they're going to start liking your stuff, and then maybe in a month's time they see something that's like new customers, we're giving you 20% off. Okay, great. That's a really good opportunity for me as the customer to trial that out. They might then make a booking or they might message you. So you've got to think it doesn't happen straight away, which is why I'm all about longevity and consistency. So showcasing your point of difference. So whatever your point of difference is, I always ask clients this, not to put them on show, but to say to me, okay, why are you different from the salon down the street though? Like, you know, what makes you stand out from everyone else? So for instance, our products work holistically with the skin microbiome. Our salon is eco-friendly. Obviously, you guys all stock one or all of the Vital Plus brands. So I know there's incredible unique selling points for all of those different brands. And I'm sure that if you guys need a bit of a I don't know, like you need to kind of touch up on your knowledge, Frank and the team and everyone, you can just jump onto our social media for Vital Plus, or, you know, you can just email through a couple of different questions. We have heaps of marketing collateral that you guys can utilize, but essentially you want to make sure that with every type of content that you're sharing, every time you're, you know, sharing a story, every time you're doing a reel, every time you're doing a video, you are integrating that point of difference with whatever. It could literally be, you know, making this beautiful herbal tea when people come in for a treatment, like anything to you that's very special and unique, that would be your unique selling point. Again, sharing testimonials before and afters. These 2 things are just super imperative for a beauty and skincare salon. And then being consistent, again, when you share your photos, images, and videos. So I know I've repeated myself, but it's just so important because I know sometimes we get on a bit of a rampage and we're like, oh, we're going to share all these photos and stuff like that. And it's well and good to have that. I guess you're like, yes, this is awesome. I'm going to spend all this time. And then people kind of like fall off it and they forget. But the biggest thing to know is that, you know, there's no more like, I mean, there is yellow pages, but this day and age, people are not going to go Google your website first, or they're not going to just go look in the local newspaper. Like, we've got to be realistic. People are going on Instagram and Facebook first. They want to see who you are. And if they see a post that like you haven't posted, in like a couple of months, there is a very, very low chance that they're going to reach out or send you a message because it feels like you're kind of not there. So imagine that like every time you don't post and you're lagging with your posting, Instagram is going to be like, okay, well, they're not posting anymore. They're not being consistent. So that means that they're not as important. So even if you're sharing, if you can't commit to 3 times a week, even twice a week, you know, you just hit your main days. Maybe it's like a Monday when you're off and a Friday you're most busiest. So hopefully you guys, if you take one thing away, it's being consistent and obviously sharing the before and afters. So how can I improve my salon sales? Again, I'm just going to presume that every person here is like selling products. So Instagram and Facebook actually make it really easy to sell yourself. So for instance, if you've set up as a business account on Instagram and Facebook, it's very easy to do so. You can even just Google it, but essentially you just go into your Instagram, you connect it to your Facebook page, and then you make sure that you're a business account on Instagram and Facebook. This way you can actually create a shop front. So you can have all your products there. You can even have gift vouchers in there, and it's connected to your website. If you're selling products, ensure that all your products are tagged. So with Instagram, you can tag your products in reels, in stories, on your grid. And the reason why we do this is because for a customer, obviously we want to showcase our products. We want to share all the products that we're selling in our salon, but it's so much easier for a customer to literally just look on a photo, click on the photo, and oh, Nemu's tagged on that one. Perfect. So they click on that and then it takes them through and then they can check out. So the number one thing, I think for people, they kind of forget about Facebook. And I know predominantly, like, I do talk about Instagram a lot, but Facebook actually has better click-through rates than Instagram because there's one less step that people have to do. So what I mean by that is when you're sharing stuff on Facebook, always make sure that you have a link. It can be a link to Book Now, it can be a link to shop for your products. People just have to literally click and then the destination pops up. With Instagram, you've got to go click on a photo, you've got to click the link in the bio, then there's another thing. So there's a little bit of like a delay in that sense. So with everything that I'm saying, all of this is applicable across Facebook and Instagram and vice versa. Okay, encourage customers to prepay for services and give them an incentive. So a lot of the questions that I get from salons is like, how do I actually get people to like commit? So, when there's like treatments that, for instance, off the top of my head, like skin needling, or when you're doing like chemical peels, obviously for a customer to get their best results, you want to, you want to encourage them to like, come back and like prepay for your services and product, etc. So putting together an incentive at the end of this, and I'm not going to talk about other sales and stuff like that because I know Frank has a talk coming up with someone else and they're going to be talking about all the different ways that you can, like selling in your salon, etc. But just to keep it short and sweet, when you put a little bit of an incentive, i.e. if you say, if you prepay for 3 sessions, you can get your 4th one half price. So that's what I mean by like incentives. Creating seasonal campaigns. Mother's Day, Christmas is just coming up, so you're offering incentives, things like that. So you could even, you could say if you book in for Christmas, you get a beautiful little mini genetic, like little sample products, things like that. Everyone loves that. I know that Nemu has their Christmas advent calendar coming out now, which I'm so excited about. So even just sharing like things like that, and offer gift vouchers and seasonal times of year. So of course we want to make sure that people know that you're selling gift vouchers because people love to give them for gifts around Christmas timing as well. So in terms of improving your salon sales, obviously like focusing on that, you just have products here and you're like, okay, great, I'm using Instagram and Facebook. Know that people are going to look at Instagram and Facebook before they're looking at your website. And I think that's the most important thing because people, for a while, I think people spend all this time trying to make their website perfect and get everything, like everything perfect and cohesive. But realistically, your Instagram and your Facebook is like a mini website. It's like your online portfolio. That's where people are going to go first. So you want to make sure that you have beautiful content, you're being consistent, and you have your mini shop front perfectly accessible for people to utilize. Now, how to actually create content. So obviously you guys are like, great, we have all these amazing, ideas and stuff like that. Number one, it's like taking the time to create content when you're a business person, when you've got a busy team, you're busy at the salon. I totally get it. So I'm hoping that these tips are going to help you guys. As I said, content, I'm referring to videos, reels, and photos. It's literally anything that you're taking with your camera. So number one, the best thing is that you don't need to invest in all these gadgets and devices. If you have an iPhone, this is literally going to be your best friend when it comes to content. So 2 things. Number one, if your business allows for it, I actually recommend that salon owners buy a work phone. This is purely because you're going to take lots of photos and content and videos, etc. And sometimes it's easier to just have a work phone where everyone, in your team can just pick it up, take some beautiful photos, whatever it may be. If that's not available on the iPhone, when you're creating an album, you can actually create a shared album on your iPhone. And so I'm just going to show you here. And the reason why this is very important is because if you share photos on WhatsApp or, through Facebook Messenger or however else you communicate, it actually compresses the quality. decompresses the quality. So it's not as good. So you're not going to get that clear, crisp content like with videos, etc. So when you add photos to your shared album on the iPhone, all the quality stays the same. And then every person who has an iPhone in your team, they literally just upload it and then share it to the shared album. So if you go onto your iPhone and then you go down to, for instance, so this is like your photos on your iPhone, and then you click on the top left-hand corner, you can just see down there, and then you can go select new shared album, and then you can add your team members. So obviously this is only applicable if the team members have an iPhone, but it's a good way if you can't get the team phone. So take photos and videos every chance you get, even if you don't think it's relevant. So in terms of content, in my Bible, I actually have all these different content topics and ideas, and I'll float some for you so you guys can write them down. But I mean, it's coming back to being, you know, authentic and showing people why people want to come to you. Like, why do people want to come to you as opposed to the person down the street? And people love authenticity. They love to see the real you, who you are. So if that means you're taking videos of your morning routine, what you're eating in the morning, you know, you're coming into the salon, how you set up the salon, maybe, I mean, Frank mentioned this actually a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about this, and he made a good point of saying sometimes it's really nice to get everyone involved and say, hey guys, we're actually, you know, talking all things acne this week. So what do you guys recommend? Like what products, what steps, what, you know, different tips and tricks and stuff like that. Make it fun, make it exciting, because, you know, you want people to feel your vibe, feel your energy. And sometimes it can be a little bit hard to kind of integrate that through social. But if you're being authentic and you're having fun with your content, there's really no rules to it, as long as you're just being, you know, the best version of yourself. And on the other side of that, me as a customer, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's so much fun. Like, I really want to go there. The team seems so, you know, knowledgeable and exciting, and the salon looks beautiful as well. So photos, videos, I always say to people, I'm like, okay, people want to know what you're doing. So like if you're doing your morning routine, you can actually use the products that you stock at the salon. So you can use your Jumu when you're having a nice, you know, like doing your skincare in the morning, even your night routine. You can ask the people on your team to kind of like take photos and stuff, and maybe their night ritual, things like that makes your content really special and really unique, which is obviously a really good selling point as well. Ask for permission or have disclaimers so you can take before and after photos. I touched on this before, so you don't need to actually take someone's full photo. You can just take like a portion of their face, but we do need to make sure that we are asking people for permission, because I've seen it before where people create all this content and then they share it, and then you get a DM and someone's like, oh my God, take my face down. I don't want my face on the internet. You can even put like blocks across their face. And if you're asking yourself, okay, great, how do I actually do that? Canva Pro, you upload the content into Canva, you can use their little blocks, and then that's it. So asking for permission is very, very important. But again, that content is just like gold. People want to actually see the results of the products. And the last one, encourage your customers to tag your business when they share the content. So this is UGC content, user-generated content. The user-generated content is very important. It's literally, as I said before, it's people telling other people that they love you, they love your business, they love your products, they love your services, and you can't buy that. Like, it doesn't matter how many, you know, paid ads that you do, anything like that. You want to utilize this type of content because this is the content that's essentially going to help maximize the engagement and conversation for your business. So, you know, social media, people talk about these buzzwords like engagement and reach and et cetera and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, to make it super simplified for you guys, like when other people are saying how good your business is, of course you want to share that because, you know, like that's priceless. So user generated content. So encourage people to tag themselves. If they're, you know, they've just had a facial, say, do you mind, you know, just taking a little video or a photo and just tag us? You can even have marketing collateral like little stickers or little business cards like, here's our social handle, make sure that you tag us, we'd love to feature you. Make it super fun and exciting. one of the things that my clients did is that every single Friday, they actually showcase a client. So whether they've shared something in the past, and then they'll screenshot it, they'll make sure it's all sized perfectly, they'll watermark it, and then, or they'll just reshare that person if they've shared it on their grid. And then every Friday is dedicated to, I forget what they call it, but they made like a special name for it. Like it was like Superstar, I don't know, or like Skin Fairy, Superstar Skin Fairy, or something like that. But then every Friday, they share a UGC, which is great because you can actually add that into your content strategy. Yeah, so use your phone. You don't need a camera. Take photos and videos any chance that you get. Every single thing is content. I made this joke. Actually, I had this video reel that I put on Instagram, and I told my fiance, I'm like, take videos of me, take photos. Like, I'm obsessed. Any single thing that I see, I'm like, it's content. Like, I go into the Vital Plus office and I'm like, hi guys, I just want to take a video of you. I just want to take photos. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, everything is content. So just remember that, even if you're like, I don't know, no, it is really, really good. It's content. So how do I create salon content tips and ideas? As I said, I've got like a whole list of like actual topics, but some popular topics, if you want to write these down, obviously, morning routine, day in the life of a beauty therapist. People love that. You can also do your top products for a specific skincare concern. So you can say our top products for acne skin or pigmentation or oily, whatever it may be. You can also do things like, we're coming up to the seasonal time of year. So you can say, okay, how do you make your skin healthy and happy, especially Christmas? People are maybe drinking a bit too much, eating a bit too many carbs and etc. So you can say how to give yourself a beautiful glow up at home using the products. And the best thing is that you can tag all these products and then it just goes back to your shop front. So with all this content, also, you don't need to be making you don't need to make new content for Instagram and Facebook and emails and websites. You can just repurpose all this same content, and then after 6 months time, you can actually even using your captions, the same captions that you've used like a couple of months ago, but then changing the image, or using the same image that was really popular and then changing the caption. So it's a little bit of like a rotation with content. And I guess the one thing for you guys is you're probably like, okay, we're just gonna make it, really simple and easy. And I want to give you guys a bit of a rundown of I imagine that I'm a beauty therapist. This is how I would run my whole month in terms of content, Instagram, Facebook. The apps that I use, as I mentioned before, it's called Later, Later, and it's all in caps. And the best thing is that you can actually connect all your social accounts. You can connect TikTok, you can connect your Pinterest, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything. So you can connect your accounts there. You can schedule everything. As I said before to Amelia, you can use that Monday, and that Monday can be your admin day. All you really need is I'd say about 2 hours out of the whole month. And it's literally for you to curate your content, see how everything's going to look. You schedule everything. You don't need to think about it again. It's super easy. You're like, great, done. So Later is my number one scheduling app for Facebook and Instagram. Number 2 is Canva Pro. As I said to you, it's very easy to keep all your beautiful visual identity on Canva. So you can just upload your photos, you can upload your colors, your fonts, all of that. And when I say it's really easy, I don't want you guys to think, oh my God, no, she's just saying it. No, it actually is so easy. I promise you, I do it for people who've never had experience before. They call themselves the dinosaurs because they're like, I don't know how to use social or anything, but I promise you, it's so easy. And yes, it's called Later, but in caps locks, Naomi. And yeah, it's very easy to use, and I just love it. It actually makes you really excited because you get to see everything come together. So Later is your scheduling, and then Canva Pro is your content creation, design, editing, etc. Do you share the same content over all platforms every time you post? Yeah, great question. So we do. So when it comes to my content with the client's content, we share the same content. But the best thing about Later is that you can actually edit the caption per platform, because it wouldn't make sense for me to post a photo for Vital Plus. Sorry, I should say let's say Nemu, and we say, you know, more information, link in the bio. That doesn't really make sense to Facebook because people are, there's no link in bio. So what you do is like, you can literally just put a different call to action in the box on later, and you can tweak whatever you need to do. So that actually might come in handy, especially if you have different audience on Facebook and Instagram. But for instance, I would just say on Facebook, click the link below to find out more, and then you put your link. And then in Instagram, you obviously would write link in bio. In terms of the link in bio, later actually has a link in bio, so you can set up all your different buttons or your different videos, etc. I'm just going to show you guys the one that I have set up for Vital. I know a lot of people use like Linktree and stuff like that, which is totally fine, but Later has it actually built in, and it's all part of the plan, which I think it ends up being like anywhere between like $20 and $50 a month for connecting all your different accounts. And I just found that Later is probably just the easiest to use. So I'm just going to go into Vital Plus and I'll show you what I mean. So with the link in the bio, so can you guys see this? Every time people click the link in the bio, oh, because I'm sharing my screen. Oh, sorry, guys. Hang on. All right. So this link in the bio, you can see how many tabs that we can add, and I update them regularly. And we also have a little video there as well. So again, you've got to think to yourself, if I'm a customer, we don't want to be having like all these random buttons on the link in the bio. We want to make it super, super easy. Obviously, sometimes, you know, if we have all these links, it's relevant to keep them there. But for instance, for Vital Plus, I update that depending on the type of content that we're sharing. So yeah, so we can have the link in the bio, which is part of Later, and then Canva, which is the design tool. Exactly. Do you share the same? Yep. Okay. And so, yeah, so as I was saying, thinking about you being the salon person, okay, great. You're taking your photos, you've got an idea of what you want to post, because you're thinking, okay, what makes me different? And if I was my customer, what would I want to see? You're tagging your photos, stories, Instagram stories. So people say to me, what's more important, Instagram stories or grid stuff? Yeah, they're both equally as important, but the thing to remember is with Instagram stories, they're 15 to 30 seconds long, right? And people see it and it's gone within 24 hours. Obviously, you can save them to your cover highlights on Instagram. If you've connected Instagram and Facebook together, the story will show on Facebook as well, which is awesome. But there's no more or less important when it comes to social. It's all relevant. The reels that people post, we do use TikTok, but predominantly we use Instagram. Instagram Reels, it doesn't matter if you have 500 followers, 5,000, 50,000, your Reels could be seen by literally everyone. Like Instagram has over 1 billion users. I think TikTok, the last time I saw the stats, it was like 364 million or something like that. So Instagram is still king when it comes to content sharing, etc. Reels, people, like the trends and everything that's going on right now. Yes, Reels are so important. They're also the best way that you can really show who you are as a business owner, as a salon owner, etc. They're fun. You can, if you're really into dancing and creating all those awesome trends, amazing. Some people are like, I don't want to show my face. That's totally fine. You can literally get away with just showing bits and pieces or doing the cool challenges, anything that you see on Instagram Reels. But the difference between obviously Instagram Reels and stories is that your stories are going to be limited by who can see them, but they're also a really great opportunity to share a lot of behind the scenes content that you don't need to design. You know what I mean? I can just take a story right now of me doing this, and maybe it's not cohesive or it doesn't match my pink aesthetics of VK, but it's still relevant for my audience and I'm still sharing behind the scenes content. So every little element of Instagram and Facebook is very important. Obviously, Reels, they encourage people to use Reels because everyone around the world can see your stuff. But again, as much as that's amazing and that's going to get you huge reach, it's going to get you great engagement. If you are a local salon, like in Australia, someone in Toronto is not, your target audience. So as much as I say, yes, Reels are amazing for getting that incredible exposure and etc., you want to bring it back to actually understanding who your audience is, using locations on Instagram and Facebook, using the right hashtags, all of this stuff, that's going to be the best way that you can actually get your ideal target audience. In terms of hashtags, so another great app is called Flick. Actually, it's not an app, it's just on just on website. It's called FLICK. And you know what, actually Vital Plus team introduced me to this one, because before this I was using, again, Later, and they have the hashtags built in it as well, which is awesome. But I would never say no to, I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm like, yes, I'll use everything and anything to do with like social best practices, things like that. So Flick is great because it'll actually give you an analysis and a breakdown of the best hashtags to use for your particular area. So when you think of like hashtags to use, I'm just going to make it very simple, so because I know sometimes it can be like a little bit overcomplicated. If you were doing a hashtag like hashtag skincare, that's pretty like, it's pretty broad. When we think of niche, we want to think of things like Sydney Skin Salon, or Sydney Salon, or Salon for acne, or Salon for pigmentation, things like that. So be very particular with your hashtags. And if you're using Flick, it'll actually give you this incredible like analysis of like, is it high competition? Is it medium competition? Is it low? So that's a really great website that we use for the hashtags as well. Again, people ask me, how do I get more followers? Well, all of the stuff that we just spoke about is your recipe for success. Having real conversations with people. So make sure that you're commenting back to people, you're responding to DMs. Another little tip that I love to say to people, and we use this for Vital Plus as well, maybe you've actually seen them, is every new follower. So we wait about a couple of days. I think we usually wait about 5 days. So on the Friday, we'll go through all of our new followers and we'll send them a customized message. And that message is completely up to you, but that message gives you an opportunity to actually say, hey, thank you so much for the follow, and make sure that you use their first name if it's applicable. Thank you so much for the follow. This is our business. This is what we offer. If you need any more information, please feel free to, message us back, put the link or whatever type of link that you want to put in there, and then that's it. So I think that's really important as well, to show people that you're a human, you don't use bots, you don't have, copy and paste type of responses. You want to make it, you want to make people feel special.
What do you offer any assistance for our beauty salons, and how can they get in touch with you? Is there any deals going on? What's the
Totally. With all that stuff, obviously the Social Bible, as I said, it's pretty like, it's like a little guidebook. Like I want everyone and people who've been using it, it's just kind of like their little guidebook intro to Instagram and Facebook. But in terms of like questions and stuff like that, you know what, you guys can literally just message me on VK, or you can even send your questions if it's something to do with how to, like obviously Instagram, Facebook, but you can also just send a message to Vital Plus Instagram, because obviously it's me who's answering those questions. But yeah, no worries. Like you guys can definitely just send me a message and say, I was just from the Vital Plus team, or sorry, I was from the Vital Plus conversation. And I can just do a quick little voice message, any pain points that you guys have. But I guess the thing with VK is we don't really do like one-on-one, but that's why I come out with all these resources so people can use it. But also what we do actually do is we do packages. So if you're like, I love the content idea, but I don't know how good I am going to be at Canva realistically, we sell things like Canva reel packages and social templates. So essentially you just have to send us the content. We make it all beautiful and gorgeous, and then we send it back to you, and then you can just have all that content in your library, and then you can just share it yourself. So there's definitely little things like that we can do, but just send me a little voice message on VK, and then we'll get back to you.
And I see that there's a 30% off if you enter the code VITAL30.
That's correct.
Massive. Thank you very, very much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all when I've got Naomi. Please take care and have a wonderful day and week ahead.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everyone.